It's time to get your geek on with Dave Gramillion.
Ah, yes. I am Dave Gramillion. Welcome to Get Your Geek on 9:30 a.m. The Answer and 930amtheanswer.com. Here we will talk Star Wars, Star Trek, DC, Marvel, video gaming, really all things geek that have dominated this little world of ours. You see, geek is not what it was 20 or 30 years ago. Geek is in. Geek is very in. Geek is now the mainstream, and we are here to talk the latest and greatest that is geek right here on the Best of the City nominated talk radio show for geeks across San Antonio, across Texas, across the United States, rapidly across the world. This is Season 2, Episode number 32. And tonight, we're going to do a little bit of a PAX South recap now that it has come and gone. Do you have the PAX South blues, or maybe the PAX plague? Yeah, Texas and San Antonio had just the flu all over the place, and, 20, 30,000 of your closest friends got together and decided to hang out. Ooh, we'll talk about a little bit of PAX, and we're going to have something interesting, something different, something new. I promised some new things for 2018. One of those will be coming on tonight. We have a very special guest coming on. The Kaeli Comic-Con report will be momentarily, actually not too far from now. And then we have some Marvel news to talk about. We have some Black Panther news that may surprise you. We'll talk about that and more coming up. Will this be a $3 billion year for Marvel? It's entirely possible. We'll tell you how that's going to happen. Coming up after the bottom of the hour news break, we have the Golden Geek Awards television and streaming edition. This is something that I wanted to start last year, and we kind of did a little bit, but this year we're going to do this in earnest, in full. The Golden Geek Awards, since the Screen Actors Guilds are right around the corner and our beloved president decided to give out his own awards recently, we're giving out our awards. Television and streaming tonight, and the movie edition will be in March when the Oscars roll around. And then if we have a little bit of time, can't promise this, but the DCEU is starting to move in a new direction. They have a new chief, new boss, new head honcho, and I don't like the direction they're going, which is kind of funny because we haven't liked much of the DCEU anyway. So you didn't think it could get much worse, but hold on to your butts because it just may get worse for the DCEU going forward. All right, so in order to make sure that I am running the premier talk radio show across the United States for geeks like you and me, I got to make sure that I have everything I need on my checklist, and that is, first of all, I got to have something to drink. There we go. I mean, you're going to talk for an hour. You might as well have something right there. I also like to keep a back scratcher on hand because if you're going to be talking to someone like the lovely Kaeli in just a little bit here, I don't want to be sitting here squirming on Facebook Live. So I like to have that ready to go just in case. And of course, if you are going to be running a geeky talk radio show, then by golly, you better have yourself a lightsaber. And I have True Blue right here with me, a gift from my friends over at Saber Forge. And not only that, but we've also added in our sonic screwdriver to keep all the technical issues at bay. But I can't do this on my own here, so on my left to your right, as you look across the radio dial, you will see the Grand Poobah of the Star Wars Society of San Antonio. He is our minion, Peter Gonzalez.
What's that flashing?
We're losing the deflector shield.
Both strap yourselves in. I'm going to make a jump to light speed.
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
Hey, Minion, how's it going?
I'm doing fantastic. How are y'all?
What are you rocking there?
I am wearing, since it's kind of cold out there, I am wearing my Star Labs hoodie.
Man, it was bitterly cold this week.
It was bitterly cold as it was like Hoth out there.
It really was. I mean, you needed a Tauntaun to get to Whataburger.
Pretty much, and some of whatever was left in the Tauntaun went into Whataburger.
Okay, then. So, if you look further to my left, you're right. As you look across the radio dial, you will see the man spinning the ones and zeros. He is our sound prognosticator. He is Goose.
Make it so.
Hello.
Goose, how you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you. And what are you rocking there?
Well, this little great thing right here from riptapparel.com. It's a little mashup of Transformers and Star Wars. Just the last Prime.
Outstanding.
Nice.
Bam!
know,
Nailed
very
it.
nice.
Very cool looking. You can also shop for yourself at Ripped Apparel, RIPTapparel.com. Use the promo code GYGO at checkout, and you will save 10% on anything that they have. Alrighty, so we're set, rip-fired, and ready to go here. So let's go ahead and go right to our guest. She is from thedailygeek.news. You can also find her on Facebook at, of course, The Daily Geek. That would be our very first Kaeli Comic-Con report. We are welcoming on Kaeli Cheyenne.
Come fly with me, let's fly away. If you can use some exotic booze, there's a bar in far Bombay.
Kaeli, how you doing?
Let's fly.
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. You know, it's pretty cold right now here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest, raining as usual, but I did make it out for a trek with the dog earlier today and went to the hospital for, you know, some fun stuff, but no complaints here. Definitely having some fun this week.
When you were at the hospital, did you see a door that said, "Don't open dead inside"?
You know, I didn't. But we did talk about cadavers, actually. No joke. I did talk about cadavers because I was actually getting MRIs, and you know, it's one of, I guess, my talent is just being able to lay in an MRI machine and fall asleep. I lay there like a dead body. So naturally, I start talking about cadavers, and you know. That was interesting.
And speaking of which, so you just came back from FanFest, Walker Stalker, Heroes and Villains, kind of a 3-in-1 Comic-Con there, which to me sounds like it would be a massive event. Did it feel like you were lost in a crowd, or was it in a more intimate setting?
You know, so I'll put in the chat here, Walker Stalker Con, Heroes and Villains FanFest, they combine together, and it was actually truly an amazing convention for me because I've been to some really massive events where, you know, I've been lost in the crowd. I've been unable to move. And this was truly a convention created by the fans for the fans. And it you know, it really offered a unique experience for everyone and brought so much excitement to the table. They head, you know, to Nashville this year. They're heading to London. They're heading to a lot of different areas, and I'll put a link in here again just in case anyone wants to check them out. So this last weekend, I spent the 13th through 14th, Saturday, Sunday, at the convention. And while it was, you know, it was definitely the smallest convention I've ever been to, I was able to have, you know, a really personal experience, and I spent a lot of time with a lot of individuals, and it was definitely much more intimate than any other convention I've been to in the past. You know, I had such incredible access to do pretty much whatever I wanted. You know, there were cops on my side, which was awesome. So a large portion of my time was spent, you know, photographing cosplayers. I did see some fantastic cosplays that we'll post up on the Daily Geek, so definitely make sure you head over there and give us a like. I spent time, you know, walking the vendor aisles. They had this really awesome section set up just for tattooing at a famous artist, Chris 51. So I spent some time watching some fans get their tattoos. Also chatted it up with my new fellow members of the Kashyyyk base, Rebel Legion of Portland, as I am joining as Ray, and my Cloud City garrison, the 501st of Portland. So that was really cool to finally put names to faces in that aspect. You know, I think my favorite thing about this convention was the fans were able to score photo ops and autographs with all their favorite guests, like Jeffrey Dean Morgan. You probably know him as Negan on The Walking Dead, Norman Reedus, Daryl Dixon. You know, he's also in the Boondock Saints, which I'll talk about here in just a few minutes, one of my favorite films ever. Stephen Amell, you know, he's on Arrow. CMNC 2 is Casey Jones. And all of these special guests offered such a lower cost than most conventions, and the autograph price wasn't separate from photos. So all of these guests were spending time with their fans. They give them an autograph. They'd take as many selfies as they wanted, see him with a photo op, which I just felt was such a great perk compared to so many other conventions, as it was able to give fans such a memorable and unforgettable experience that they won't forget. And, who doesn't want to have a selfie of, themselves with Stephen Amell on their Facebook for the rest of their life? I mean, hello.
Now that's so much going on out there, which is an incredible and almost overwhelming experience. But if you had to pick just one moment that stuck out to you out of all that, what would it be?
I had one of actually the best moments of my entire career in the Comic-Con and press industry at this convention. I am a massive fan of the Boondock Saints. When I was 12 years old, when my mother had found, who is now my stepfather, he had asked me, have you seen the Boondock Saints? And I said, what? No, I've never seen this movie. So that was the first thing that he did, was he had me sit down and we watched the Boondock Saints. And to this day, it is literally one of my top 5 favorite films ever. And there's a couple scenes in it where David Della Rocco, who plays Rocco in the film, is sitting with Sean Patrick Flannery and Norman Reedus at the table, and he accidentally slams his fist down on the table, and he shoots the cat, and he says, is it dead? And I was able to pull up my Snapchat. I turned David Della Rocco into a cat, and he reenacted that scene for me. And it happened to be that Sean Patrick Flannery was right next to him at his booth doing his signing. And I said, I started quoting another portion of the film, and that's where they have, their beanies on over their face. And he goes, do I look okay? And he goes, yeah, that's Obi Katie. You look like Mushmouth off Fat Albert. And Sean Patrick Flannery whips around, being his handsome self, and he goes, it's Obi Katie. So I was able to quote my 2 favorite scenes from one of my favorite movies with both actors. I have photos, Snapchat videos. I mean, it was so incredible that I was just, over the moon completely. I've had some wonderful experiences, but I will never, ever forget this moment that I had with them and just how, willing they were to do this. It was just wonderful.
That's awesome. That's true. That's outstanding that it's something from, your little nostalgia moment kind of come to life right there in front of you. That's really cool. I'm glad that you're able to have that experience. And I'm sure everyone out there listening has had that experience at some point when they go to a Comic-Con, which is what part of the fun really is. But you also had a sit down with Stephen Amell for the Daily Geek. How did that go?
Oh, man. So, most of this segment is centered on Stephen. I've worked with Stephen. This is my 3rd time working with Stephen in my career, and I am such a huge fan of just the person that Stephen Amell is. I think he's an incredible actor. He's an incredible human being, incredible father, husband. I could go on forever. While there were many, experiences that brought me joy, I was just most affected by Stephen Amell and sharing all of these experiences with him and learning so much about him, his personal life, on and off screen for Arrow, the film that he's working on, Code 8, which I'll talk about in a moment. He works with a numerous amount of charities, but one that really stands out is F Cancer. It's a huge campaign, and I'll put the link in here. He has a store with some really awesome merchandise that raises money, that supports and gives back to children with cancer. And one of the, highlights of this moment was during his panel. In the past, he had gone to Twitter and asked his fans, to just send out some hope for this young boy that was dying of cancer. And he actually had brought in this boy, and he said, one of my buddies, I had asked for some prayers for, some support, and he's right there right now today alive. And it was just
awesome.
Just wonderful. This kid was, of course, over the moon, sitting front row and just being there. He works with the Children's Miracle Network hospitals, the Give Back Hollywood Foundation, but I really think that that his campaign for F cancer is just so impactful, you know, that he donates so much time to that. Another really cool thing is recently his wife and him, or himself, have bought property and a house in Walla Walla, Washington, which was actually named one of the hippest towns to travel to this year, which is, it's funny because I've been there, and if you're not into wine, I mean, there's really, it's complete wine country for Walla Walla, unless you want, you know, to drive there for 20 pounds of Walla Walla sweet onions. I mean, you can get that. But he has recently started a winery called Knocking Point Wine, and he offers now a wine shipment. So it's 4 shipments of wine and gear each year, each season. So every 3 months you receive, you know, exclusive wine straight from his winery, his own brand of coffee that he's making, collectibles, custom gear, merch. You know, boxes are priced at $105 per quarter, and with 6 bottles of wine, a lot of merch. I mean, you get a lot of stuff. You really do. That's for U.S. residents. They also offer it now to the UK and Europe, as well as Canada, obviously because he's from Canada. But the price is all inclusive, so you pay no additional shipping fees or taxes, you know, nothing. And I will go ahead and I'll put the link up to his winery in the chat, and if anyone's interested in checking out that wine club as well, I highly suggest that.
Now, if you're wondering why she's talking about links in the chat and that sort of thing, we do also run a Facebook Live here at facebook.com/GYGO Radio, where, hi, you can wave and see us there as well. Kaeli, where are you headed next?
So next, we're going to be headed up to Seattle for Emerald City Comic Con. Really excited for that. After that, I'm headed to WonderCon a few weeks after in Anaheim. Then back to Portland for Wizard World. We're headed over to Orlando in May for MegaCon. And then we're headed over to E3 in LA in June. I decided to take the summer off because then, you know, we have some conventions through fall, through winter, all of that. I'm going to head down to San Antonio to see you guys.
Yeah!
You know,
bam!
Yeah! Woo! The best one. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Awesome. Okay, so every time Kaeli goes to a con, we're going to have the Kaeli Comic-Con report. She'll come back on the show, call in here, and let us know how everything went, and highlights and maybe some lowlights if there are those, because, I mean, let's face it, not every con is perfect, so we'll be able to hear that from you going forward, and you can find out more about her over on facebook.com/thedailygeek. Kaeli, we want to thank you for calling in and taking the time out here to speak with us.
Yeah, no problem at all. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. We'll talk more later. I have some exclusive Arrow news for all those Arrow fans out there, and be looking for us. We're excited to partner with Get Your Geek On for an exclusive package of CW gear that we have picked up at this last convention. So definitely stay tuned for that, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Thank you very much, Kaeli. We do appreciate it. All right,
Thanks, guys.
So that was Kaeli Cheyenne of the Daily Geek taking time out here to tell us about the FanFest Walker Stalker Heroes and Villains Con up there in the Pacific Northwest. That was pretty cool.
That was very cool. Thank you for coming on.
A sit down with Stephen Amell.
Yes.
That must have been awesome.
I always wonder what Walker Stalker cons were like. But there you go. I got to find out.
Yeah, they kind of lumber along. You know, they're just
and knowing is half the battle.
Every day they're shuffling.
Okay.
That's what zombies do. They just kind of shuffle along.
All right.
Oh, Lord.
All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move on. We got a little bit of Marvel news to talk about.
This is that sequel to the smash hit with no equal. This one's for the true fans with Hulk hands and action figures.
All righty. Outstanding. All right. So Fandango is reporting that Black Panther now holds the record for most pre-sold tickets for a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie.
Good for Black Panther.
The previous record, in case you were wondering, which I'm sure you were, was held by Captain America Civil War, which was released in May of 2016. Now, this doesn't mean that it's sold out everywhere, but the movie's about a month away, and it's already set the record for
That's
pre-sales.
amazing.
It's incredible. And I think it says a lot because remember a little while ago we were talking about a boycott of the film?
Oh, yeah, that went nowhere.
How did that work out for you? It's so overblown. It's a great example of clickbait media and why you should not overreact to little stuff like that. You should be getting your news from getyourgeekon.org.
Right.
Yes.
Because, our staff of writers, we don't do clickbait.
And
Ever.
if you want to make sure that it's delivered to your inbox as soon as it's published, go to getyourgeekon.org and subscribe.
That is correct. Thank you, sir. Now, the boycott was just hilariously overblown. It was a bunch of garbage. But despite it being sold, despite it having the movie pre-sold ticket record,
yes,
it's still tracking at about $120 million opening, which will beat Spider-Man Homecoming. Spider-Man Homecoming was 116, but it will fall short of Deadpool.
I got an interesting thing about the Spider-Man Homecoming DVD.
Oh, do you?
Ooh, yeah.
So I got it for an occasion.
Okay.
And I looked up, and the digital stuff is done through Sony, not through Disney.
What?
Huh?
Yeah.
Through Sony?
Yeah, to get the digital copy, you go through the Sony stuff.
I swear, they must have an army of lawyers and a contract like this thick.
Bigger.
Yeah, like...
Yeah.
God.
And there's rumors that Peter Parker will appear in the Venom movie.
That's
Tom
what I've
Holland's
been
Peter
hearing.
Parker.
I've heard about that.
So it was just, I think Marvel just borrowed.
I mean, this is
Spider-Man.
basically like, okay, we'll trade you LeBron James, but you're going to give us 2 first-round draft picks. You're going to give us this player and that player and 2019 draft pick, and we get a case of Bud Light, and it has to be at 35 degrees.
Well, no,
and we need gift cards to Twin Peaks
and Taco Donna.
and Taco Donna.
So Cleveland lets LeBron go to Miami, but Cleveland still gets a percentage of his jersey sales.
Percentage of the jersey sales, plus some concession stand revenue on odd-numbered home games only on the west side of their stadium.
Oh,
and
Lord.
welcome to Sports Talk on Get Your Geek On.
Good night. But no, it was just interesting that you had to go through the Sony stuff and not the Disney stuff.
I'm telling you, man, they must have had just an army of lawyers going back and forth and back and forth. So it's tracking for about 110 to 120. When we get closer to the movie, we'll make our official predictions.
Okay.
So no worries there.
I'm really looking forward to this, mainly because aside from I was always a DC guy. I never really read too much of Black Panther. I never saw too much of him until Civil War. So I'm really intrigued. I'm really excited about this.
So Marvel has 3 movies coming out this year: Black Panther, Infinity War, Ant-Man and the Wasp coming out this year. This could be a $3 billion year for Marvel.
And that doesn't include Fox's The New Mutants.
That is not. No, which actually, I think that was pushed to 2019.
Was it pushed? Okay.
I think it was pushed. But here's the story. All right, so 2017 was the best year for Marvel. They had $2.6 billion.
Okay.
I think it's pretty safe to say Infinity War will hit $1.5 billion.
Won't shock me.
That means that Black Panther and Ant-Man 2 need to split the difference at $750 million each. Now, keep in mind that Ant-Man, the first one, made $500 million standing on its head. Nobody had heard of Ant-Man before, and everybody laughed at the idea of doing an Ant-Man movie. So now that the hype is there and the build is there, and the fact that Paul Rudd apparently never ages, at all, it needs to hit $750 million. If that's not out of the realm of possibility. And then Black Panther also needs to hit $750 million. Definitely not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, the
Not
first
with
go
the
round
hype.
they sold Ant-Man a little short.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it's entirely possible. Am I saying it's going to happen? I don't know. We're going to have to see how things pan out. If Infinity War hits 1.7, that takes some of the pressure off. If it only gets 1.3, then the pressure's on. But we could see a $3 billion year just from Marvel alone.
When does Ant-Man come out? When is the
Ant-Man 2?
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
It's fall?
I think.
Sometime in the
Okay.
fall. We'll have to check on that and let y'all know in the bottom half of
Yeah,
the
'cause
hour
it's-
because I think I'm... Yep. Oh, starting to run out of time a little bit.
Yep.
So here's the story. All right. Here's the tell of the tape. Infinity War, I think we'll make $1.5 billion standing on its head.
Yes.
No problem.
No problem.
The hype is there. We know they're going to kill off characters. So
Interesting part is
it's
1.5
gonna
billion is also its budget.
more than, you're not too wrong there
No.
because they did film both movies at the same time, and the rumored budget was something like 700 mil.
Is Peter Jackson the director?
It kind of makes you wonder a little bit.
How much of that went to Robert Downey Jr.?
Exactly.
Too much, probably. I would not be surprised if RDJ made like 50 mil out of this easy. 50 mil for Robert Downey Jr. for both films.
Exactly.
So 1.5 bill for this one. Black Panther needs to hit 3/4 of a bill. Ant-Man 2 needs to hit 3/4 of a bill. Do you think it'll do it? We want to hear from you on Facebook.com/GYGO Radio. Leave us a post. Tell us if you think this will be a $3 billion year for Marvel. Coming up after the bottom half of the hour, we have the Golden Geek Awards and some DC news. We'll be back after this. Alrighty, welcome back from the bottom of the hour news break. This is Get Your Geek On 9:30 a.m. The Answer Talk Radio. I am Dave Gramillion, and if you missed the first half of the show, we had our first ever Kaeli Comic-Con report. She called in from the Pacific Northwest talking about FanFest, Walker Stalker, and Heroes and Villains, kind of a 3-for-1 deal there with Comic-Con. We also talked about the Black Panther movie, setting a record for pre-sold tickets, but still not on pace to beat Deadpool for an opening weekend. We also talked about how this could be a $3 billion year for Marvel if things go their way. It's not a done deal yet, but it's entirely possible it could happen. Alrighty, so let's kind of recap a little bit. Let's rewind, revisit, review PAX South, of which I am proudly wearing their t-shirt right now. They redesigned their logo. Oh yeah, all right. So they redesigned their logo on their merchandise, and it looks pretty slick. I like this.
Nice. That was very nice.
Very, very nice.
And video games galore were had in the Alamo City this last weekend.
Holy cow!
Man.
Holy cow!
There were just too many to name. I didn't get a chance to visit everything, but wow.
And if you want to catch the awards that we gave out, then you want to check that out over at getyourgeekon.org. There are pictures galore. There's a write-up of PAX South over there on the website. And don't forget to subscribe as well. It's free. You won't get spam, but you will get mail sent right to your inbox. Okay, so let's first impression, PAX South Minion, go.
It was a lot bigger than last year's. I think it was a lot more organized.
It was very organized. I didn't hear a lot of complaints about, I'm lost, I don't know where this is, or the volunteers suck, or whatever.
And a lot of great cosplays out there as well.
Goose, first impression.
I went on Saturday, and it was quite crowded, but there was a lot of great new games out there coming up, both not just the video game side, but also the tabletop and card variety. So it was really neat. I mean, they do have it sectioned off rather well. You have the tabletops over here, the video and card game, and other vendors over here. It's very well done.
Now, each one of us had to pay off our portion of the bet.
Yes.
If we hit 10,000 likes on the Facebook page before the calendar year was over last year, we all had to do something at PAX, and when we actually hit 11,000. So in 40-degree, no, it wasn't even 40. It was like 30. They're like 35-degree weather. Mm-hmm. I took a pie to the face. Here's the story, though. Here's the untold story. So I told my wife, she stayed up a little later than I did, and I asked her to pull the pie out of the refrigerator that we had in our hotel room before she went to sleep.
Yes.
Well, wouldn't you know, she forgot.
Oh, boy.
So this lemon meringue pie sat in the fridge all night.
Be glad she didn't leave it outside.
Well, yeah, it'd be even worse then. So I crank up the heat in the room in the morning, trying to get it to thaw out a little bit. It worked a little, but other than that, I still got a cold pie right to my face.
Now, your wife opted not to give you that pie. She had insisted.
Yeah, she was a little concerned that, it was a one-time shot. We didn't have a backup pie, and if she stumbled, missed, went too high or too low, that it would be messed up. So we got Lily, who is a 6-year-old.
Yes.
Daughter of one of our writers over at getyourgeekon.org.
An adorable.
With assistance from Goose.
Oh, yeah, I had to make sure she stayed on target.
And then you had to make sure she really pressed it into the face, too, and kind of twisted and turned. Yeah,
I had to make
great.
sure she did that, yes.
That was awesome. So I did take a pie to the face at PAX South. Goose, what'd you have to do?
I wore My Little Pony sunglasses and a Legion M sticker, and that photo can be seen on Facebook.com/GYGO Radio.
Like a bumper sticker. I mean, across your.
Well, because I only had one.
Yeah, but still, when people think stickers, I don't want them to think of those little ones.
No, it's bumper sticker right around here.
Yep, right around the jawline there.
And to make sure it stick, I didn't shave that morning, so it was actually stuck on pretty good there.
And Minion, what did you do?
I wore the New Hope Leia costume.
Yeah, here's the deal, though. You only had to wear it for one day. You kept on wearing it.
Yeah, I actually did because I figured, I paid for it. I paid for it, so I was like, might as well,
Well, then why didn't you wear it on the show tonight?
You didn't say anything, but still, but if you want me to, I could wear it next week.
Did you need to put on lipstick too?
The ladies at work insisted that I wear makeup, so I said, okay, why not? And once I learned how to put it on, at one point when I was coming on Saturday, one of the reasons I was kind of running a tad bit late, I had to stop and put lipstick on at lights.
He was getting into character.
He was getting, that's exactly it. He's channeling his inner Carrie there.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure she would have loved it.
I'm sure she would have loved it too. All righty.
I saw a mean meme about Carrie Fisher the other day.
I saw it too, and we're not going there. No, that's disrespectful. So we're not doing that. But so that's PAX South. Strongly recommended for next year. If you don't get 3-day badges, get 3-day badges. I'm just saying. All righty. So with that being said, this is gonna be a lot of fun. This is awards season. We had the Golden Globes last week. Screen Actors Guild this week. The Oscars aren't until March. So we're going to hold our very own Golden Geek Awards TV streaming edition right now. Yes, indeed. That season is upon us once again, where Hollywood pats themselves in the back for taking home multi-million-dollar paychecks and cranking out movies for y'all. Alrighty.
Well, in this case, TV shows and streaming.
Well, that's true. We're going to do this is the TV streaming edition. We will do movies coming up in March. So if you're wanting to know, how come we didn't nominate, this movie or that movie, that's because it's in March.
It's coming.
It's okay. So this is something I've wanted to do for a while, and now that I have my little Golden Geek trophy here, we are going to give out the actual Golden Geek Awards. If you know these people or follow them on Twitter, feel free to let them know that they've won a Golden Geek Award from Get Your Geek On. I'm sure they'll be truly honored, and they'll fly down to receive their award.
And that's at GYGO_radio on Twitter.
Absolutely. Okay, so here we go with our first category being Best Actor. And the winner is Stephen Amell from Arrow.
Nice.
All right. I mean, that's
nice.
He kind of ran away with this one.
He did.
It wasn't really that close.
It wasn't, but Arrow really set the standard for comic book television, at least in this iteration of comic book television. And season 5 was a very, very interesting season of Arrow. It actually brought the regular story to a close, the story that they've been telling for 5 years. Kind of closed that story up, and they were able to begin season 6 in a brand new direction.
So that goes, Stephen Amell, you get Best Actor here on Get Your Geek On. Alrighty, so the next category that we have would be Best Supporting Actor. So someone that's not necessarily in a lead role, but somebody that would be a strong supporting actor character. And we're getting to the ladies here also in a second. That would be, again, this one really wasn't even that close as far as we're concerned anyway. The winner here would be Tom Cavanaugh from The Flash.
Yes.
And I think we all pretty much agreed on that one. So Tom Cavanaugh gets to win the Golden Geek.
He's such a scene stealer because he was great in the first season. He was the villain, and now he's an essential part of the team. You just can't help but not watch him every time he's on screen. Yeah,
I think that I think he had a really good time. He really enjoys his character a lot.
He is funny.
Well, characters.
That's
Harrison
true.
Wells. My gosh.
I agree, but you got to love somebody who enjoys their character as well. All right, so Best Actress. Best Actress in a TV or streaming series. It's got to be geeky related, so we're not doing, any of the serious stuff. This is stuff for us. All right, so here we go. Best Actress goes to and I'm going to pronounce it both ways. Thank you very much. That'd be Melissa Benoist or Melissa Benoit from Supergirl.
She is amazing.
She really
She's
nails
really
Supergirl.
grown.
She nails Supergirl.
Yeah, because the first season was was okay. Let's see.
Oh, it was
kinda
cute. Oh, she's
But
so
now
cute.
it's getting better.
It is. It is. She's getting better as we're going along. She's doing just a fantastic job of growing with her character.
She totally carries that series.
Well, now she does.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I thought one of the best parts about it was Callista Flockhart as Cat Grant.
Oh God, yes.
I thought
Yes.
she was so good in that
Talk
role.
about a scene stealer.
Yeah, no kidding. So Melissa Benoit, I'm French, so we'll pronounce it that way, wins Best Actress for Supergirl.
Amazing.
Best Supporting Actress.
Oh yes.
Best Supporting Actress, and this one was close. This one was really, 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 really close. We went back and forth on this one, but it does end up going to Winona Ryder for Stranger Things.
Oh, how can you not love her in Stranger Things? She's just it's amazing. She's frantic and she's.
She goes from being that calm, let's see how things go, I'm going to keep my family together, to that bug-eyed, wild-eyed, oh my God, what is going on? Which, well, most of us were saying the same thing also.
Yeah.
So when Winona Ryder, this is a real bounce-back role for her.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't really in a lot before then.
No. 'Cause she disappeared for a while.
For a little bit, but now she's back in Stranger Things and is just a star again.
Yeah,
so
and plus that she's really grown from being the teen goth thing, and now she's playing a mom, and I totally buy it.
So Winona Ryder wins Best Supporting Actress, Best Director. Best Director.
This one was hard.
This one was difficult. The problem with giving up Best Director, we may not do this one next year because they bring in different directors for different episodes.
Yes.
So you'll have this guy directed 5 episodes. This guy directed 7 episodes. This guy directed 2 episodes. And maybe the 2 episodes were really, really good, but does that justify him getting the award in a 14-episode season? I mean, it kind of balances that, balance that
I don't
as you
Um,
know.
like.
I'm nominating Jonathan Frakes for Star Trek Discovery for 2018.
But that's, again, just 1 episode, though.
But it was
a good episode. So our winner for Best Director in a TV streaming series is Matt and Ross Duffer for Stranger Things.
Ooh.
I think that's yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because it's so different. It's so unique.
And not only that, but they did a nice job of keeping the 80s nostalgia, but doing a second season, especially of such a massive hit in the first season, it's difficult to bring that back and to top what you did before.
What I always liked about Stranger Things is how, like you said, how well they nailed the 80s. For those of us who grew up during that time, it was like nostalgia.
It starts off in the arcade, and
They're playing Dungeons and
playing Dungeons and
Dragons.
Dragons. They're playing Dragon's Lair. Dragon's Lair.
Yes.
I mean, that was
Dragon's Lair is
awesome.
awesome. Did you ever play it on DVD?
No.
They actually released a DVD of the game.
Ooh, nice. Very
and
cool.
plus all the Star Wars references.
The
as
Ghostbusters
well.
references. They come in the
Yes.
school wearing the suits and all that. So that goes Best Director to Stranger Things. Best Writing. This is another difficult one because you have so many different writers collaborating, but we've got to take it year by year. And this goes to Ross Andrew of the Punisher series.
See, I haven't seen any of the Punisher yet.
Well, it's gotten rave reviews. I've seen bits and pieces here and there myself, but it's a deeper show. People thought that this would be a pure shoot 'em up violence, revenge your family type of thing, and it's there. Don't get me wrong, but there's a lot more depth than people thought, and that's due to the writing. So Ross Andrew comes
good.
away with the Golden Geek Award for Best Writing. Best Series on Television.
Okay.
This one's close.
Yeah, there's a lot of good television series right now.
There are, but let's face it, for 2017, it really came down to Arrow, Flash, and Supergirl. DC, I mean, just owning
Yeah.
it. Keep in mind, this is on television, so don't give me Daredevil, Luke Cage, which they weren't on
The
anyway,
Defenders.
but Defenders, don't give me that. Strictly for television, the only contender will be Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for Marvel. And let's face it, that's kind of petering out a little bit.
Hey.
Season 5 is pretty good.
Yeah. So the Golden Geek Award has to go to Supergirl.
Woohoo!
So Supergirl, that's their second award now, and I think this one is well deserved.
Yes.
That show just keeps getting better.
Well, and it doesn't rely on it doesn't rely on the crutch of being in the same association of the other DC shows.
True.
So it takes place on Earth 38.
And then they do crossovers, which you kind of worry about crossovers, but they pull them off well.
Oh, Crisis on Earth X is the best one they've done.
I think also was in that same one as when her sister, I can't remember the name right off the top of my head, but when
Alex?
when Alex had that breakup with Maggie.
Yeah.
That was actually a tearjerker.
Spoilers. All right, last one. This is the last award that we're going to give out. We did Best Series on Television. That went to Supergirl. Best Series on Streaming. Netflix, Hulu, that sort of thing. And keeping in mind, there was no Daredevil last year. There was no Jessica Jones last year. There was no Luke Cage last year. We got The Defenders, which was...
When Runaways started.
Okay. Runaways started, but there wasn't enough for us to build on...
Star Trek Discovery.
Well, that was a contender. That was nominated for sure. But the winner, Marvel goes home with this one. It goes to The Punisher.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
Because, again, it gives you still some really, violence for all the fanboys out there. It's The Punisher. It is what it is. But there's still that amount of depth that keeps you coming back for more.
I love the trailer just because how they just added Metallica 1 in there.
Yes.
That was just... perfect.
They really nailed it. I thought they did a tremendous job.
Yeah.
So
because The Punisher actually, it works for Netflix because you can't do this on CW.
Now, of course, you know what
no.
the best streaming show was when it actually streams properly, the entire show?
What was that?
Let's Get Your Geek On.
Yes.
Yes, when it streams properly.
Yes. When it actually works, it's the best streaming show on Facebook.
We do have a few, Minox chewing on the power cables. So let me get the screwdriver.
Yeah, we had to start a new video for those of us.
Sorry about that for those of y'all who watch us on the stream. Now, we will be doing the movie edition in March, right before the Oscars happen. We will be doing our Golden Geek Award. So let me recap the awards. Best Actor, Arrow, Stephen Amell. Best Supporting Actor is Tom Cavanaugh in The Flash. Best Actress, Melissa Benoist, or Benoist, however you want. You can go either way. For Supergirl. Best Supporting Actress, Winona Ryder, Stranger Things. Best Director, Matt and Ross Duffer, Stranger Things. Best Writing, Ross Andrew, The Punisher. Best Series on Television, Supergirl. Best Series on Streaming, The Punisher. So Punisher gets 2 awards, Stranger Things gets 2, Supergirl gets 2. That worked out kind of nice.
It did.
And DC comes out with some big
love.
hitters.
Yeah,
Some serious
because
love.
they rule on the small screen.
That's true. That is very true. You know who also rules? That would be our friends over at Laser Legend.
Yeah, they do.
Our friends over at Laser Legend up on the north side of San Antonio on 1604 and Lookout Road near I-35 and also kind of near Rolling Oaks Mall, kind of in between there. We love going up there. Every time we go, we always have a fantastic time. They have great party rooms for the kids, for corporations who want to, do a little team building exercise. 4,000 square foot video arcade. Think about 4,000 square feet. Star Trek pinball, Walking Dead game, Jurassic Park. They have Star Wars Battle Pod. They have 2 different Star Wars games.
Yeah.
They have the Batman driving game. You like that one. That was pretty good.
Awesome. I get to collide with everything. So.
And a great food and beverage selection. They cook right there in-house. And, of course, their 2-floor laser tag arena, which is just fantastic. You get power-ups when you're out there playing. You can shoot. There are bases that you can shoot and defend. And it's really it's so much fun out there. I really get a kick out of everything that goes on over at Laser Legend. Don't forget also, they're still having their deal where for $30 you get unlimited laser tag during the week.
Oh, that's still going on?
It's still going on.
That's awesome.
$30 unlimited during the week. Okay,
Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday.
Aw.
Yeah. Well, still, it's a nice way to to head over there during the week.
Go unwind after work.
A couple of games of laser tag. I mean, you can do that standing on your head. That's no problem. And then you go back the next day, and you go back the next day.
What is your obsession
it's
with
good.
people standing on their head today?
I don't know. It's my thing. It's just a thing today. You ever get something stuck in your head and you just keep repeating it?
No, not really. Not in a while.
Oh, I do that standing on my head, so I guess that's, it is what it is. So that's our friends over at Laser Legend. Alrighty, so with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to some DC news here, shall we? Alrighty. So it's a new year.
Yes.
DC has a new boss.
Yes.
They're going in a new direction.
Yes.
And I hate it.
What?
Hang on.
I hate it. It's
Well,
just,
there goes the
it's
build-up.
revolting. That's what it
Oh,
is.
yes. I hate this. It is revolting. More? Please.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we'll still go see it.
Yeah.
So this has come out. This was rumored, but now it's all but official that the new Batman movie, which may or may not star Ben Affleck, will be outside the DCEU.
No.
So, this will only
Did
confuse
Fox or
things further.
Sony have the rights or what?
I don't know.
Just so long as it wasn't Joel Schumacher.
So there'll be a new Batman movie. We're not sure who's in it. We're not sure when it'll come out, but it'll have nothing to do with the previous Batman, Superman, Suicide Squad, Man of Steel, or Justice League movie.
Why?
Wow. You know what kind of idea that is?
It's a bad idea.
You are stupid. You are stupid. You are stupid. You are stupid.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a stupid idea. I mean, why would you want to confuse things further?
I mean, they had pretty much a good little continuity going with Ben Affleck, and he didn't do that bad of a job.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is if they throw in a completely different villain that will never be in the DCEU and a completely different plot that'll never be in the DCEU, like he faces Clayface or something. But why would you do that? Why would you limit that portion of the DC universe? That means you can never use Clayface in the DCEU. Why?
And please, not another origin story. Yeah, we get it. His
Well,
parents got killed.
Wait, what?
If we're going,
Spoilers.
we could do a prequel, not an origin prequel.
Yeah.
Like a Gotham prequel.
But like a like Batman and Robin, showing the Robin that apparently died at the
Somewhere
hands of the Joker.
At the Batman before Batman Superman.
Possibly.
Yeah.
All right, you could do
Before
that.
Man of Steel.
Except then when if you do Batman and Robin and you do like Robin's death, then people are going to compare it back to the Why? Why would you do this, DC? Why? And then there's this. Then there's this news.
What's that?
This will really brace yourself. Okay, this one will you may want to pull off to the side of the road for this one. According to Variety, Spider-Man Homecoming writers John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein are in negotiations to direct the Flashpoint movie. That is the Flash standalone starring Ezra Miller. It's an awful idea. And I'll tell you why. Because initially they courted Ben Affleck to return to the director's chair. Remember, he was up first to direct Flashpoint and then backed out entirely. Now, Ben Affleck is a competent director.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And seeing as how he's so deep into the DCEU, I'm okay with Ben Affleck directing it. But he passed him the gig. So by tapping Daly and Goldstein, the studio, they want a comedic tone for Flashpoint. Because, the Flash, he's such a funny character. Isn't he funny? Then he's like Deadpool, but without all the F-bombs.
Well,
He's so funny. Isn't he funny? They've never read Flashpoint, apparently.
No. Well, the weird thing is if you compare this to, say, the TV series, first season had a lot more comedic elements, but then again, he was still learning his powers.
True.
But I don't know. I mean, if you're going to do some lighthearted stuff, okay, a couple of lighthearted things, but it's like everybody says here, it's got to be serious.
Now, keeping in mind, so what do I mean when I say that this has a comedic tone, that they're obviously going for the funny side? Because Daly and Goldstein, their directing background have included movies like Vacation, which was the National Lampoon Vacation remake, and the upcoming Game Night, which also stars Jason Bateman. Also a comedy, slapstick type of movie. Yeah, Goose,
yes.
You're our DC comic guru.
Yes.
So you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong here, but wasn't Flashpoint kind of a serious thing?
Oh, yes. What they did with the Flash was probably the most lighthearted version of Flashpoint out of the three. Because you have the 6-issue miniseries that led us to the New 52. anyway, you have the Flashpoint, the DC animated movie, which led us to basically the DC animated New 52.
That was an amazing series.
That was a great movie.
But
there's not much room for comedy in this. Not only that, I think Ezra Miller's Flash is a little too young to get to the story.
He's not exactly Barry Allen as we know him in the comics.
But there's one bright spot that could come out of this.
And that is?
James D. Morgan could be Batman.
Possibly.
Could be.
Well, because he was Thomas Wayne in Batman
he
v
was.
Superman.
He was. So that it's a possibility. But
Thomas Wayne was
already,
Batman in Flashpoint.
already they're taking this new direction, and I don't like
I don't like it either.
No. And I thought the DCEU couldn't get much worse already.
Oh, you haven't seen Suicide Squad.
No. I did.
Oh.
I saw it once, and that was enough.
Unfortunately, I almost walked out on it. I actually almost walked out on it. Wishing I had.
I almost didn't see it in the first place.
Well, that's true.
The only reason why you stayed was
just idle curiosity to see how a girl with a baseball bat was going to take out the Enchantress.
I don't know. I thought. Well, I figured Margot Robbie was going to be in there somehow, some way. But yeah.
Yeah, but I mean that was pretty much it. I just want to see how this train wreck is going to end, because of the Suicide Squad, only one of them has any powers to take out someone like the Enchantress, and that was Diablo.
Yeah.
How is Captain Boomerang going to take out the Enchantress?
With the boomerang?
With the yeah, right.
Or Deadshot, with a bullet.
And that was not Deadshot. That was Will Smith being Will Smith.
Oh, hell no. Pretty much. I mean, that's what it was. So, DCEU,
you got work to do.
I keep wanting to say I'll give you all the benefit of the doubt, but it's been a few years now that I've been saying that. So,
hey, Wonder Woman.
Better show me something here. That's one.
That's one.
Out of 5. Good job there.
All right.
So that'll wrap it up here. If you want to tweet at us, you can find us at GYGO_radio. You can shoot me an email at davethehost@getyourgeekon.org. For Goose, for Minion, and for myself, I do want to thank our sponsors, Laser Legend and The Mailing Spot. Thank you for listening. Be excellent to each other, and make sure to get your geek on every single day.